Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to this special live stream. I'm Adam Smith, and in this Dementia Research session, we're turning the spotlight on innovation. And today, I'm delighted to be joined by colleagues from the Alzheimer Society and some incredible innovators who together are driving forward product and service innovation to help bring help and hope to people living with dementia. But let me start by giving you a run through the program, straight into it, no messing. Oh, and there's Julia. Hi, Julia. Sorry, Julia.
Hello.
Unfortunately, couldn't get into the green room before we started. So let me start by giving you a run through the program. Our event will begin with a presentation from Alzheimer Society Innovation Leads Ella Moonan-Howard and Simon Lord, who are going to share their insights into their new programs that they're offering, particularly the Accelerator Programme and their new Launchpad. And then following their presentation, we have a roundtable discussion with three outstanding innovators who've been a part of these programs. We have Zeke Steer from Milbotics. Hi, Zeke. We have Julia Glenn, founder of EarGem.
I'm not founder. I'm Chief Commercial Officer, not founder. It's okay. Just didn't want anyone to think that's when I wasn't.
And your background is backwards.
Oh, is it really? Okay. Not sure
we'll just
about that.
Pretend it's in Welsh.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Then we also have Stefan Orlins, who is from Animorph. Hi, Stefan.
Hello. Thank you.
Together, they're going to share their experiences and insights and the journey of turning their innovative concepts into reality with support from Alzheimer Society. And we'll also have time for some Q&A. So please feel free to drop your questions into the chat wherever you're watching, whether you're watching on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, or on YouTube. If you post your questions into the comments, we'll feed through to our platform and we can make sure that they're brought in at whenever is the right time. To put those to our brilliant guests. So let's have a quick hello to everybody. Hi, everybody. You've all found your way in. Yes. Good morning. Right, perfect. That was awkward. Our goal with this live stream is to inspire you to see the potential of your findings beyond the clinic or the lab. We understand that there's frustration among many researchers, particularly when their discoveries don't translate into real-world impact because they aren't necessarily picked up by policymakers. And today, we want to show you that there's another way to make a difference. And with a little help and a new mindset, you can turn your research into innovative products or services, bringing your ideas directly to people who need them the most. Of course, people living with dementia, their carers, their family members. And with support programs like this, like the Alzheimer Society Accelerator Programme and Launchpad, researchers have the opportunity to create spin-out companies that can drive real change and bring hope and tangible solutions to those living with dementia. So just a reminder again, you can post questions at any time. Well, the program's going to start with Ella and Simon, who are going to give a talk to give us an overview of those programs. And then we'll be back for that roundtable chat with everybody else. But for now, I'll hand over to Ella and Simon, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about the programs.
Brilliant. Thank you, Adam, and welcome to everyone who's still joining. I'm Simon Lord. I'm the Head of Innovation at Alzheimer's Society. We're here to talk to you about the work that we're doing and the ways that you good people can be involved. So just for context, Alzheimer's Society is the biggest dementia charity in the UK. We provide, as Adam said, help and hope for people living with dementia, help today and hope for the future. And help and hope are desperately needed because the challenge at the moment is huge. So if we can go to the, I think 2 slides on, Adam, to the challenge bit. So dementia is the UK's biggest killer. There are around 1 million people living with dementia in the UK today, only 2/3 of whom have a diagnosis. And diagnoses obviously open the door to accessing treatment, care and support. Worldwide, a person develops dementia every 3 seconds. By 2030, we're looking at 78 million people. By 2050, that would explode to around 150 million. Right now in the UK, 1 in 6 hospital beds are being used to provide care to a person living with dementia. 61% of people living with dementia do not feel supported by a health and social care system that we know is stretched in terms of finances and resource. And the costs of dementia, which is so evident on the micro scale, affecting every aspect of a person's life, the family around them, is also colossal at the macro scale, costing the UK economy around £42 billion a year in health and social care provision, and also in labour costs through informal carers who have to give up work. And that's projected to more than double by 2040, which means that dementia is kind of pretty simply the biggest health and social care issue of our time. Next slide, please, Adam. So what are we doing about this? The Alzheimer Society invests in research. We work to bring more researchers into dementia so that in the coming decades, we can help turn the UK's biggest killer into a treatable condition. We also provide direct support services to help people come to terms with their diagnosis. And we have a crack team of influencing colleagues who lay out the impact of dementia for key decision makers at a national and a local level to ensure dementia is their top priority. And alongside that, and I'm not saying most importantly, my bias may show, we fund innovation work, which is where our team comes in. So the innovation team at Alzheimer Society recognizes that dementia devastates lives. And our aim is to become the global leader in new solutions that will increase choices, improve quality of lives, and revolutionize diagnosis, treatment, care, and support for people living with dementia. Like, ultimately, we want to drive innovation in dementia until it is no longer a challenge to live with dementia. And to do this, we tackle every aspect of the condition. We provide support to entrepreneurs to provide a product or solution for every person affected by dementia at every stage of the condition. Our aim is to build a culture of innovation in dementia. We want to inspire people to take dementia up as a design challenge. We need to ensure that the programs that we deliver, that Ella will talk about in a minute, are a rite of passage for people looking to innovate in the space and serve as a mechanism to attract the best entrepreneurs into dementia. And we work really closely with system leaders who need to solve those huge challenges that I laid out earlier, ensuring that the products and solutions that are being developed by our programs, by the best people available, fit the challenges that they're facing. So we do all of this by running a series of programs. I'm going to hand over to Ella, one of our senior innovators and our Launchpad lead, to take you through them.
Thank you. On to the next slide, please. One more. Yeah. So when you come and work with us or partner with us at Alzheimer Society, you don't just get the support of our team, you get access to a whole network ecosystem of people working in dementia innovation. So you will be partnered with someone, a senior innovator from the team who will provide one-to-one stewardship to make sure you can access that network. You will get hands-on support from the Innovation Collective, who are a curated network of volunteers with a broad range of experiences who can provide hands-on support for you in your journey. That could be something from IP support to manufacturing, people with experience in retail, people, academics, people with lived experience of dementia, and carers as well. So a whole range of people in our Innovation Collective. And then beyond that, when you join us in innovation, you also join Alzheimer Society, the largest dementia charity in the UK. And with that, you get access to all sorts of different functions across the organisation. So that could be from media team, from our brand team, from our influencing team, from our local services colleagues delivering frontline support for people with dementia up and down the country, all sorts of different functions there. And on the previous slides, there was a couple of pictures of some of our work that has leveraged some of those support functions. So there's a picture of Anna Richardson. For context, she's just released a documentary with Channel 4 all about dementia. So that shows some of the stuff that our media colleagues are doing. And also there were some images of one of our previous Accelerator partners, Sibstar, who were on Dragon's Den, and some other ones have been on the One Show as well. So that shows how we're, plugging in some of our media colleagues and wider functions within the organisation. And then outside of Alzheimer Society, we're also really connected with the wider dementia ecosystem. And if you come on any of our programs or support packages, you have access to pitching opportunities and networking opportunities with that broader ecosystem as well. Next slide, please. So we have 3 programs which are currently live, as in open to application or very soon to be open to application this October. And I'm going to talk through a little bit of the differences between those. You saw I've outlined some of the similarities in terms of what you get, and this is some of the differences. So the first program is our Dementia Innovators program, and we are running that in partnership with the well-established and well-regarded NHS Clinical Entrepreneurship Program. It's a CPD accredited training program that's 12 months and is open to NHS and non-NHS health and social care professionals. We're really looking for anybody building any sort of solution in the dementia space, and ideas at any stage. So it could be right from conception through to something that's a little bit more established. The second program that I'll talk about, which I think might be of most interest to those on the call here today, is our newest in-house support offer, and that's Launchpad. This is a 4-month program and is designed to primarily help the earliest stage ideas validate and build a commercial model around those. So that's open to people who literally just have an idea for something that they might want to build on a piece of paper. Maybe you've been doing your own research and you think, oh, if only we could get X or build X, that would really solve this, then this is the right place for you. We're partnering with Good Innovation to deliver lots of bespoke and curated support in order to be able to commercialize and validate those ideas. And we're also particularly interested in ideas that are focusing on an aspect of the hospital journey for people with dementia. Simon mentioned some of those statistics around that hospitals, 1 in 4 people by 2040 will, in any hospital, will be living with dementia, and so we know it's a real challenge moment in the dementia journey. But there is a broad understanding of what is focused on hospitalisation. So if you're unsure about whether your idea might fit within that remit, come and chat to us, and I'd be really happy to talk that through with you. And then our the last programme I'll talk about today is our Accelerator Programme. This has been running we've been running for a number of years quite successfully, and a couple of Zeke, who you'll hear from later on, was a partner in our Accelerator Programme, and also EarGym 2. This is different from the other 2 programs, an investment package, so you can access up to 100k worth of investment, and that is targeted towards people who are a little bit more developed in their ideas. So you'll likely be an entrepreneur already. You may have already registered and set up your own business, already have a product or prototype that has some good testing and evidence behind it. And really, the Accelerator is there in order to help you get to market, ideally within the next 12 months from joining us, and to be able to increase the scale and the speed in which you can access customers. For example, you might go into our shop in-house, or partner with some of the other many other partners in order to make sure you can increase your reach and the profile of your innovation. And again, that one doesn't have a specific focus on problem. We're really looking at anything from across the dementia journey, and that includes prevention too. So anything that might prevent people from getting dementia, developing dementia, diagnosis, treatment, support, right through to end of life. So if there's any entrepreneurs on the call who could do with some investment in order to make sure you can increase the scale and the reach of your product, then I'd be really keen for you to apply to that. Next slide, please. And then just a really quick run through of the timelines. So as I said, they're all open for applications this October. It's been a busy month for us in Innovation at Alzheimer's Society, but confusingly, they have slightly different timelines and windows. So if you're interested in a Dementia Innovators Programme, that opened on the 1st of this month and closes on the 29th. So go to their website, answer any questions, and check it out ASAP. That won't kick off until spring next year, and then, as I said, runs for 12 months part-time. Launchpad opened for applications this Monday, and we are awarding places on a rolling basis right through until the new year, and then it's a 4-month part-time programme from February through until July. The Accelerator Programme will open on the 28th of this month. It's not open yet, and then that has a hard deadline of the 6th of December, and then won't kick off again until the following spring, following a due diligence process, and is an 11-month full-time programme. We have lots of support on the website. You can email us for any more information. We're also doing drop-in office hours every Wednesday afternoon. Thank you, Adam, put the QR code up there. So if you scan that QR code, you will be sent to a Calendly link in which you can come and chat to me and ask me any questions you might have about our programs or how we could support you to commercialise your research. We'd be more than happy to help.
Okay, so this bit's really just for information, just to kind of paint a little bit more of a picture of what we do as a team. The Longitude Prize on Dementia is one of the biggest initiatives we've had in the innovation space in dementia. It's a £4.4 million prize. It's designed to drive the creation of personalised technology-based tools, co-create with people with the early stages of dementia, helping them live independently for longer and continue to engage in meaningful activity, with a real focus on AI and machine learning. The prize opened in September 2022 and is running until February 2026 and has operated through a kind of stage gate process. We had 175 teams from around the world apply to join the prize. 24 semi-finalists were picked and spent the last, just over a year, about a year and a half, developing their solutions with the help of £80,000 of investment and a kind of substantial non-financial support package from a bunch of kind of very exciting partners. 5 finalists have just been picked. Each of the finalists receive £300,000. They have another 15 months of non-financial capacity building support, and a winner will be announced in February 2026, receiving a £1 million prize. And you can see the products and the institutions or companies behind them underneath. So I'm going to touch on 4 of them in slightly more detail, but we're lucky enough to be joined by Shepan from CrossSense. So I'd encourage him to pick up the Anamorph project as part of the panel discussions. But starting with Memory Aid. Memory Aid is a home assistance device that resembles a really traditional telephone, co-designed with people living with dementia. It's like a really familiar looking device, offers a screen for video calls, and it kind of specifically provides personalized reminders of daily activities, reassuring voice of a loved one. And it's basically tapping into the insight that a lot of people living with dementia effectively kind of really recognize an analog phone. And so far, all of the testing around this has been kind of very, very positive in terms of people's ability to continue to engage in routines that otherwise they may have struggled to engage with. So there's that. SuperSense technology is an at-home monitoring box that protects privacy, which is a really big focus of the prize. We really didn't want kind of monitoring solutions that invaded people's space, that made it more difficult, in a sense, to continue to live the life that you were living before. So the SuperSense system effectively sits in a room and is able to kind of very passively scan the lived space in a way that is kind of incredibly low def. So you're not talking about cameras, we're not talking about kind of audio recordings, but to kind of sense the movement around the house, to monitor systems within the house, to ensure that if there is kind of significant change to behavior, a family member or a formal carer can be informed quickly via WhatsApp or text message. Then we have Theora 360. They effectively use what I think of as kind of football pitch sensor technology. It's a technology called ultra wideband, and they use that to not just record and kind of escalate when someone's fallen, but actually to predict falls, which could be absolutely revolutionary. In particular, as we've said, like given the number of hospital beds people living with dementia are currently in, that could kind of absolutely transform the amount of healthcare provision required. So really, really exciting technology. And then the final team, Autonomous, a team based in Portugal. They have a smartwatch-based app that provides guidance on daily routines, uses AI software to process the data from the smartwatch, sensors around the home to learn about users' activities, and effectively the watch can recognize objects in the house and gently guide people through routines that they may otherwise have forgotten. And yeah, as I say, Shepan's on the call from Anamorph and can talk in more detail about cross-sense, but at a very high level. They're high-tech glasses that help people recognize objects and people. So kind of, again, transformative potential solution. And then I think the last slide is just a kind of sense of the spectrum of products and solutions that we've supported. So as Ella said, Julia from EarGym is on the call. They provide hearing training. I won't go into a great deal of detail because I imagine Julia will want to pick that up. And Zeke from Milbotics are developing smart socks, so wearable that can effectively capture physiological data and translate that into kind of usable, actionable information for carers. But we've looked at kind of everything from safer spending through Sibstar, a prepaid debit card, and Philax, who are looking at kind of safer online shopping for people with earlier stage dementia, through to later in life innovations, for example, Pobrol, which is a bed bathing wrap, which has, I think, the capacity to completely transform how end-of-life care is provided. And Jelly Drops, who are one of our first accelerator partners, who have produced hydrating sweets with a view to, as much as possible, eliminating dementia-related dehydration, the hospitalization that follows from that, and the kind of usually very rapid decline that comes when you're living with dementia and you're hospitalized. So that's just a kind of sense of the scope of what we're looking at and our commitment to find products and solutions that work for everyone at every stage of dementia. So I think that's us.
Thank you very much. That was brilliant. I really enjoyed that. And such a wide range of support. It's clear that you've thought this through so carefully that it's everything from that initial idea, right? And that support remains throughout the life of the kind of companies and things as well. I've got some questions here, which I've pre-thought of, and then some that I came up with during the discussion. What qualities or characteristics do you look for in projects or applicants who might be thinking of applying to these projects, these initiatives?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good question. So, I mean, it's multifaceted. You want to find a product that is meeting a real need. Like often people will come to us with ideas for products and they're kind of searching for the problem, having with the sense that they've already found a solution. So really understanding the needs of people affected by dementia is something that we're very good at as an organization because we have so much lived experience involvement in all of our work. So we're really looking to make sure that the product fits a need. There's a lot about kind of who is an effective founder. To be a founder, you need to be incredibly resilient, take the kind of rough with the smooth, like really self-driven. And then you do need like a set of skills over and above just the design of a product. Though I would say that is one of the kind of places that we can help through our support programs and we can kind of help guide you on. But like we need those solutions to have kind of sustainable business plans behind them because we're investing either money through the Accelerator Programme, we're investing our time as a team, which is obviously a limited resource. And we really want the products and solutions that are being built to have a major impact for people living with dementia. And the only way for that to happen is for them to be kind of embedded in successful startups that are able to, you know, design the product really effectively, but also go out and secure funding, make sure that like their ability to distribute that product is kind of top class, and kind of ultimately that the products are as affordable as possible, so as many people as possible can benefit from them. So yeah, I mean, it's a really wide range of things that we're looking for, but that's why we have the kind of segmented programs, because we know people are at different stages of the journey and will need different types of support.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see from some of the examples you gave that they'd been focused on products, but of course, a service that's kind of new and creative is just as eligible. Do you think that is there a kind of natural order to these programs, or do they overlap? So anybody that's watching, would you recommend that? Because of course, some of these support overlaps, doesn't it? In your program, they get some of the same support that you'd get from Launchpad, for example. Is there would you suggest that people do Launchpad first and then apply maybe to next year, or should they do both, or does it depend on how developed they are?
I think Launchpad sort of naturally comes first, and then there's a pipeline onto Accelerator. Having said that, if you're not sure exactly where you might fit, the reason that the applications are open at the same time is so that we can direct people between the two programs. So if somebody applied for Launchpad and we felt that they would benefit better from the type of support on Accelerator, we can prompt them that way, and vice versa. If they go onto Accelerator and we think actually they're not quite ready, we can direct them onto Launchpad. But having said that, I don't think things work in like a neat sort of chronology. People come from different backgrounds. They have different types of experience or expertise that they're missing, different ways that we can support. And I would say that all of our programs are fundamentally bespoke. They're not, it's not like, I suppose, signing up for a master's program or an MBA or a taught program in which there is, written content that you get and you can make your notes and you can learn, you can study. This is a partnership in which we say, okay, what do you need? Where are you trying to get to? How can we help you? So everything's a conversation in which all of our programs, in which we will look to meet people where they are at and help them get to where they want to go.
So for anybody who's watching, if they're unsure, I think it sounds to me like a great place to start is your office hours drop-in, because you can give some advice from the outset as to whether their idea is already developed, that really at this stage they're looking for that kind of the funding to push people over the edge, or whether they want to develop their own skills to start with in the Launchpad. But it's great. I love that you're so adaptable in that if one application comes in for one program but it more suits another, you're not just going to reject that. You'll give them feedback and suggest, hey, why don't you apply for the other program? That's such a great approach. We could do with the same one on research funding. I think we need the same thing there. So a couple of questions I've got written down here. I think I'm going to save actually for the round table, but for any researchers who might be new to the concept of innovation and entrepreneurship, what do you think they should keep in mind when they're applying for these? I mean, are the applications, is this a simple process? Is this something lengthy? Is there a form?
Yeah, there are two forms. We use the same platform that our grants team use for classic academic grants. The questions look a little bit different. For Launchpad, it is more open and less rigorous because we understand these are new ideas. You shouldn't have all the answers. If you do have all the answers, you're not doing things innovatively enough yet. Accelerator is understandably a longer form in which we will expect people to be able to have a more detailed breakdown of what they're going to do with the money, market scoping analysis, and some other bits and pieces. What I would say is there's space for you to be able to add evidence, so you can back up your ideas or your product on both applications, and we'd encourage you to do that. But also there is, as I said, it's totally okay to not know everything. This is about trying new things, and I think innovation really is about understanding what you do know, where the evidence gets you to, and then what it doesn't answer, and what might be most important for you to answer first, and then how might you go about doing that whilst you build something.
And last question before we bring everybody else in and have our wider panel discussion. If you're a researcher who's watching this and you're a physio or you're an OT, and this is the first, watching this live stream is the first time they've thought about the idea that the thing that they discovered through their research could be driven through an innovation route rather than lots of publications and trying to persuade their local, primary care trust to adopt it. How developed does your idea have to be to apply for Launchpad? I mean, can you literally just have come to this and think, do you know what? I think this could be an innovation, and you want to build up those skills, or do you have to put a bit more thought into that?
You can just apply with an idea. I think most people don't actually just create like good ideas from nothing. Even if they're not aware of it when they first come up with it, it will have come from often decades worth of professional experience or lived experience with a condition. I think people often underestimate that that knowledge set that they're coming to an idea with. What I will want to see is that they have thought through how that could be translated into something tangible and something commercial. Not everything should be a commercial venture, but it is an incredibly effective mechanism in order to make sure lots and lots of people are able to benefit from that product and benefit quickly. And it's not a research or commercial venture. You can do both. You can be doing research in a startup. You can be building a startup with academic research. The evidence and the learning journey doesn't stop if you decide you want to build a product. And I think that'll be really clear when our panel come and talk about the work that they're doing.
Just one very last quick question, because I think a lot of researchers that watch this have concerns about the draw on their time. In fact, I work at UCL. We just had a survey this week looking at how much time do we spend on certain things. What's the time commitment for the Launchpad? How much time do they have to invest in that?
Yeah, so we're asking for half a day a week. There will be mostly virtual one-to-one sessions and remote masterclasses, so they can be scheduled flexibly. There are 3 full face-to-face workshops throughout the 4 months. So you will need to be able to travel to those. There will be at 3 different parts of England, and potentially fund overnight if you want to stay for the full day. And they're called validation events. So we'll have lots and lots of focus groups in which you can road test your idea and your product. We'll have office hours with people from all sorts of different backgrounds, and we'll have networking opportunities as well. So it's a really safe place for people to sort of road test their early ideas amongst a sort of a subset of the wider space.
Remind me again, how long's the commitment for the Launchpad? It's
for 4 months.
4 months.
End of February through to the beginning of July. So you'll be done, ready for some holidays.
And half a day a week, but that can be flexibly arranged, and then there's the full days as well.
Yeah,
perfect. So that seems entirely achievable through that. And of course, that time's not funded. This is they'll have to find time to do that. Okay, I think that's brilliant programs. Thank you so much for sharing them. So we've got a QR code on the screen now for the office hours, which I think is a great starting point to ask questions. I'll quickly flag up the Launchpad QR code again. So if you're watching this on a mobile device or you're watching at home on your computer, you can put your camera up to that QR code or take a quick screen grab of this and then tap that on your mobile device and it'll take you through to their website. So that's for the Launchpad. And we'll bring up the one again for the Accelerator Programme. This isn't open yet, but it will be in a week or so's time, which is the option that comes with funding. Okay, let's bring everybody else in to the room. There we go. So just a reminder who we have. We have Zeke Steer from Robotics. We have Julia Glemm from EarGym, and we have Stepan Orlens, who's from Animorph. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. Let me hide that QR code now so it's not getting in the way up there in the top corner of the screen. So what we're going to do to start with is go around the room and give everybody a chance to hear more about your about your products or services and hear a little bit about your journey. So I'm going to ask each of you to kind of give an introduction about your journey and then maybe talk a little bit about the innovation that you're working on. I'm going to go bottom on my screen, bottom left. So I'm going to start with Zeke, if that's okay, Zeke.
Absolutely. Yeah, hello, everybody. I'm the founder of Millbotics. We're an award-winning health technology company based in Bristol. Our product, Smart Socks, is a family of AI-enabled sock wearables, and it came out of a personal experience that I had with my great-grandmother. About 10 years ago, she was diagnosed with dementia. Leading up to that diagnosis, she became increasingly agitated and aggressive. And eventually she ended up in a care home when my family couldn't cope. So I decided I was going to, fork in the roads, pursue a different line of impact and really try and develop a technological solution that could help family carers in particular better manage behavioural symptoms of dementia. It led to a PhD research project at the UK's largest robotics lab in Bristol. Coming to the end of that project, I was very keen to commercialise the research. As Adam said, driven by a desire to make an impact, not satisfied with just publishing papers. And so I approached Alzheimer Society, pitched the findings of that research, and was very fortunate that they chose to invest nearly £100,000 to fund the commercialisation through the Accelerator Programme. Since then, we've gone on to win 4 Innovate UK grants. We closed our first investment round last year, and we're targeting a launch of that product towards the end of the year. So really, really exciting times. Thanks,
Zeke. I don't know why we've got this strange view. There we go. That's insisting on making Simon all big. That's brilliant. And we've met a couple of times at various events over the time. And what I love about your product particularly is this hasn't stood still, has it? I think, and we'll see this across all the innovations, is it started in one place and then I think the last time we spoke at the Alzheimer Society conference, in realizing that there's an opportunity to collect data from your product as well, which can then inform other research, not just be a product that's used in that one service. And I know that I work with somebody who's on an Innovation UK grant as well, that's something that they encourage you to do, isn't it? To look at all the different markets and different ways that your product can come through. Thank you, Zeke. Let's go to Stepan. Hi, Stepan. Let's see if I can do this properly this time. There we go.
Hello. Hi. My name is Stepan Orlens. I'm from Animorph. I'm one of the co-founders. Animorph Cooperative started in 2016 with a mission of enhancing human potential with cutting-edge technology. And over the years, we worked in quite a few well-being and medical project spaces. So, for instance, we worked on stroke rehabilitation or mental health relapse prevention. And we've worked on quite a few projects with universities, and we find that relationship is really perfect for combining technology with cutting-edge research. And then this way, you can immediately test new ideas in practice. The idea for CrossSense was in fact the very origin of Animorph, but at the time we thought that this was impossible. We at the time were reading papers about the potential of acquiring synesthesia and the potential of dual coding in kind of more popular science, where you can connect to senses and strengthen neural connections to effectively create more entryways for retrieving information and therefore improving memory. And when we've prototyped a bunch of different, let's say, sample projects over the years, but we knew that the challenge of dementia is probably too difficult for us. However, when Longitude Prize on Dementia came on the horizon, we thought that we should give it a chance. And we did, and because of that, we were lucky to start with to be semi-finalists, and we worked with Professor Julia Simner from University of Sussex, who leads Multisense Lab and is one of the worldwide authorities on synesthesia. And she carried out literature review, which is a bit more in depth than what we would have done in the past. And we found out that not only can you improve those sensory connections, but also effectively you can have an impact on other cognitive abilities like improved IQ or pattern recognition. So we found that there's actually quite a lot of potential benefits of our solution. And what we have is an AR app for smart glasses, which connects information to objects in physical space. So the app overlays real world with computer-generated information, creating an enhanced version of reality. So that might involve superimposing name tags on an object or describing what object does. You can store a voice message to an object. So simply, let's say, you want a reminder about what this object is for, or maybe you want to recall what this picture represents or when it happened and who's in it. And of course, it can do more like assistive type tasks, so guide people through processes in their daily life or highlight spaces of potential danger. So it's a combination of, let's say, that kind of experimental neuroscience and assistive technology is what we currently have. And yeah, we've been lucky to be selected as finalists of Longitude Prize on Dementia, which really propels us to another dimension, also in terms of research, because now we've engaged with further partners, which maybe I can tell you more about as we go on.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. I was in the room at Alzheimer Europe conference last week when everybody, the brain, the longitudinal prize winners or finalists were announced, and your product is brilliant. I particularly love the way that you've brought in that sensory side of things. This, which I hadn't thought of at all, about how people associate warm colors with different things or low noises with danger, and how you've adapted and brought that into your product is so creative, and you can't help but think that there's the opportunity to do that with so many of the things we do. So I don't know, Zeke, if you put in some sensors to make your, did they have sensors in there to make them hot or cold?
No, it's a sensory.
But you could make them hot, which would make people then go, oh, I've got, I don't know, there's something, you need to go to the bathroom because you've got warm feet. Just you stop me at any time if you want to use any of these ideas. You're welcome to. No, really.
It's quite challenging to find the universal common denominator. This is why the kind of having the degree of personalization is important. But we do think that there's some layer that is below the surface, so to speak. But yeah, it's maybe slightly on the edge of what's scientifically explicable.
I think it's Stirling University, haven't it? It put a lot of thought into colours, particularly with Alzheimer's disease, and looking at things that on the warmer end of the spectrum had a different impact, or people associate blues and whites and greens with cleanliness and hospital settings, and then warmer settings for nursing homes and things. But that was wonderful. Thank you very much. And without further ado, let's bring Julia in. And you've been very patient, Julia. Thank you so much for hanging around. I'd love to hear more about EarGym, which is the one thing here I definitely haven't heard of before.
Yes, well, thank you very much, and thank you for having me. So EarGym has always been based very heavily on scientific research. So the whole research side has been a real kind of foundation blocks and cornerstone of our success. So EarGym was founded by my colleagues Amanda and Andy, who both have experience of hearing loss themselves. So EarGym is a digital hearing health platform, and you can use it to basically check your hearing and then play games, which are very fun and very compelling to improve your hearing. And after you've checked your hearing, the gamification pathway is personalized exactly to your needs in terms of the deficit in your hearing that you need to improve. So one thing that we find is that people of all ages struggle with speech in noise. So like if you're in a noisy coffee shop or a football match or in a bar, it can be much more difficult to understand the people around you and that speech in noise. So we've been lucky enough to work with the Alzheimer Society quite extensively. 2 of our research projects specifically have been with the Alzheimer Society. We were on the Alzheimer Society Accelerator Programme, and we were also semi-finalists in the Longitude Prize on Dementia. And I think in terms of recommendations for those programs and how those programs have helped advance our business, it's a lot about actually going out into the community and applying kind of desk-based research to working with people who are living with dementia, and in communities where there's some groups of people who come together with dementia, and turning that research into actual actionable usable products. So yeah, so we've had very good experiences of working with the Alzheimer Society, and very happy to share experiences and advice. And I think listening to both Ella and Simon talking, I think one of the things that's so very important in terms of the research side is thinking from the beginning, how would this research, how can you actually get that into the market and get so that you've got lots of people consuming it so they can benefit from it.
Thank you very much. And I went away while you were on screen there and had a quick look. I love this. So this is like, so for a long time we've had brain training games, haven't we, that are supposed to improve people's memory. So this is the equivalent for hearing, which I would never have thought of that. I think that's such a great idea. And we know, I know Kevin Quaid, who's lots of people will have heard of, who's written some brilliant books about Lewy body's dementia, has recently been on a real mission to talk about how getting hearing aids has absolutely transformed his life, that he didn't realize just how bad his hearing was. Does your product as well help people identify when they've got the stage they get to a problem where they really should get checked out properly?
Yeah, and it's incredible actually how many people who think they have very performant hearing actually have some level of hearing loss. So the journey through our program and our training programs can help you improve your hearing by up to 25%, which is significant, isn't it? That makes a significant difference. That's around a difference of 2 decibels. And this has all of these claims I can make confidently thanks to the formal research programs that we've undertaken. So that's why research is so important in terms of how it translates into business claims that you can make. And also very interestingly is that strong link between, if your hearing declines, cognitively, it becomes much more difficult to process things. So our research work has also helped us understand and promote that link between hearing loss and cognitive decline, which is a very important part of our market strategy.
Did it? I can't remember. I could be giving bad information. Don't take me at the word on this. Didn't hearing make it into the Lancet Commission report on modifiable risk factors as well recently?
Yeah. It did.
So there you go. You're on topic at the perfect time. Well, thank you so much for sharing all about your innovations. And I love that, you know, there's kind of that mix of academia in there, but also as well that people living with dementia have been at the heart of this. How has working with people living with dementia, either through your own work or through the introductions the Alzheimer Society made, kind of influenced your products and services and design? I don't know. I'll go to Zeke first.
Absolutely, yeah. I think with health innovations in particular, it's so important to bring in the views of the end users. And as an engineer, it's very easy to fall into that trap of developing something that you think is perfect for the intended end user population without engaging with the end users and ultimately falling foul of a mismatch of expectations. I think in particular as well for hardware products, it's very, very difficult to iterate. Incredibly expensive to develop a medtech device, and you're quite solidified. You know, once you've defined those specifications, you can't easily change. So you've got to do a lot of research up front to really identify what the need is that you're solving, the intended purpose, and then go through and develop that. So we're very fortunate that through our connections with Alzheimer's Society, we've been able to run a number of focus groups and workshops with people affected by dementia. Through academic partnerships, we have run surveys with hundreds of potential end users to really narrow down what the value proposition is for our product and to identify barriers for adoption of that technology. And again, it all comes back to, having that level of foresight when you're developing an innovation to ensure that you're developing the right thing before you spend a lot of time and money building it. Really, really key. And I think that the final point would just be around building an advisory board. So this is something that we have. It's a 10-member advisory board of people with lived experience, commissioners, and also clinicians, and extremely valuable for just sounding ideas off and getting a really comprehensive perspective on the technology, how it's going to work in practice.
And I guess that's where both the Alzheimer Society programs have brilliant. I mean, researchers have for a long time have benefited from Alzheimer Society's advisory groups that can drop in and join boards, and that's the same on the. Can you make those connections, Simon and Ella, through both your programs, through the Accelerator and through the Launchpad? You're nodding. Yes.
I was waiting for Simon to take the lead.
Absolutely. I mean, we can. I mean, I think the benefit here is that we both have our own innovation collective that you can tap into kind of across the different programs that we're running. But we do also have access to kind of world-leading experts across the board.
Yeah.
So, we sit next to our research team. We can get the people you need to help validate the claims that you need to make as businesses, and to help us understand kind of the potential impact of your research. So I think we're kind of very well
and those
supported.
mentors as well, because I think that's one of the things most researchers would recognize is themselves, that they have skills, but not necessarily the business skills that you would need. And you're being able to connect to people who have those business skills to provide that mentorship that is particularly helpful as well. Zeke, you mentioned something there that you touched on, med tech products. Mm-hmm. Does that bring a whole, I mean, are socks, is your product does it have that added level of complexity because it has to go through the same kind of processes like heart monitors or new treatments and things?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, our starting point is within the dementia space, detecting signs of distress in order to enable timelier interventions. But actually, we see this as a remote health monitoring solution, ultimately, that could be used in things like frailty virtual wards, collecting health data, enabling people to remain at home for longer, supported by technology. And that's the trajectory that we're heading in. It does mean that we need to be a medical device. And actually, we're just about to start that project to develop the next iteration of the product as a medical device. So,
yeah, as soon as you said medical device, it sounds like it comes with a whole extra level of. Does Stefan, does yours count as a medical device as well?
No, because we have experience of working with a medical device, and we decided not to on this occasion. It's a well-being device, I think, as much as it can be, is still an assistive technology, but cognitive enhancement, let's say, it's something that I would like to evaluate in the future. For now, yes, the co-designing plays the main role, and because the app facilitates what people living with dementia want, is effectively it's for them. It's not necessarily for their carers or other people, but it's for people themselves to be more independent and execute tasks with more ease and spend time with people they love, participate in social activities in their communities. So in a way, we focus on that, on listening, what are the use cases that are most relevant, and we have just plethora of them, and it's all sort of connected through this linking process as much as possible, linking between senses, linking information to objects. But yeah, the very need and all the features are shaped by the users, and that's slightly different maybe to how we worked on some medical device software where the research would be quite rigid, that this is the methodology that is proved by certain research that is already grounded. We are in this liminal space, I would say.
Well, and looking at your website and hearing from Julia as well, I'm interested in how both of you approach that kind of building a team, because I would imagine that quite often this can feel like a little bit of a lonely path, particularly if a researcher's kind of come up with this initially. That how did you go about bringing in other people and building up that team. Julia, I'll maybe come to you first, because you said I wrongly introduced you as the founder at the start. So how did you come to this, and how did that team build around the service?
Yeah, it's really interesting actually, because I suppose my experience at EarGym has all been about how at the stage of the company, in terms of turning that research into a scaling up business, which is the stage that EarGym is at. So we are scaling up at pace, and our research has played a huge part in that, because we are now a medical device. And we're a medical device because it de-risks a lot of our markets, because we're a B2B company. The people feel a lot safer about conferring our product onto their customers, and research has played a huge part in that. So yeah, it's interesting because obviously EarGym started with Think VC as a founding business, my colleagues Amanda and Andy being the founders. And it started going through all of that rigorous research, and then through the kind of product market fit stage, and then medical device, and now learning to stand on our own 2 feet in the market. So obviously earning enough revenue to be a sustainable business. So yeah, exciting kind of evolution towards a large scale commercial business.
So people shouldn't be deterred, but whilst becoming a medical device is obviously hurdles, but I think also as well, we've talked about this kind of similar thing on ethics, that whilst it might appear to be a hurdle, actually it's incredibly helpful, because it forces you to think about things that you wouldn't otherwise. And if that provides the reassurance that you need then to be able to say, look, this isn't just something we've knocked up, this is actually qualified, this is past testing.
Can I quickly just comment on that?
Yeah,
because we run our ethics for University of Sussex, and of course we are working with high risk groups, so we take it very seriously. But also we want to publish research, we want to open source our software. So in a way, we are very open to scrutiny and transparent about how we conduct research in our work. However, the claim to make a claim about, let's say, slowing down the impact of dementia on someone's memory is a serious claim, which we think we would need to carry out comprehensive study. That's not, let's say, just testing what we are testing now, which is safety, usability, quality of life, maybe with elements of efficacy, but it's not. We are not there yet. So maybe in the future, when we can prove that we do what we want to do eventually, then yes, we'll definitely certify.
Having that kind of research founding and I think having researchers at the heart, anybody who's watching this, I think who's kind of thinking, well, I'm just a researcher, I haven't got innovation skills. Actually, absolutely not at all, because at the foundation of so many of these innovative products and services are built on the back of research that proves what it is you've done is useful, is helpful, and is going to transform. I'm going to ask you all, I'm conscious of time, we're already over time, so I hope nobody else had anything to rush off to. I'm going to ask you a couple more questions, which is, so all of you sounded like you've drawn on other pools as well. So this isn't exclusively an Alzheimer's Society thing. There are other innovation support programs out there, like Zeke, you mentioned Innovate UK. So do go look around, anybody's watching this. But is there anything, looking back from those very, very earliest stages? Much of our audience will be researchers who are just at that earliest stage of thinking, hey, maybe this could be a business. Is there anything you learned from those early stages that you wish you'd done differently, that advice you would instill to the audience? Zeke, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, I mean, my advice would be to incubate that idea within a research environment for as long as you can, and generate some evidence that's really, really compelling. Because when you do then attempt to commercialize that research, if you don't have a strong evidence base, it's incredibly difficult to bring in the finance that you need to be able to continue that commercialization journey. So, it may be worth just holding fire, staying within academia to get the findings that you need before you then jump on and go out into the commercial world with that research.
What about you, Julie?
Oh, that's because I thought you were going to go to
Sorry.
next. But no, don't worry, I'm ready. Don't worry. I think my advice would be, and I've been fortunate enough to work with Simon in the Innovation Programme quite a bit. So the thing that I think would be my biggest advice is that when you have an idea and when you're looking at research, you have to start thinking from the very beginning about the mechanisms that you're going to broker that idea or that service to your market and to your end user, because the sooner you start thinking about that, the much more fluent your journey can be, because we see like loads and loads of really brilliant ideas, but where's your product market fit? How is that ever going to be brokered into the market and consumed by people at large to benefit them? So start thinking straight away about how your research could translate into a consumable commercial product.
Sounds like sound advice from everybody there. We haven't actually had any audience questions. Just a reminder that if you have questions, I guess it's because you've been so comprehensive in your answers. Everybody knows everything already. But of course, Alzheimer's, we put that on there, alzheimers.org.uk/innovation takes you to the innovation page where there's links to all these things we've been talking about today, both the Accelerator Programme and the Launchpad and the NHS Programme as well, that we haven't really spent much time on talking about today, but also as well on the office hours, which we mentioned earlier is a great start point. But if you do have a question, last chance to jump in and post that today, but we are out of time. I'm going to give one last question, I think, to Simon and Ella, this is your inspiration time. So for researchers who might be unsure as to whether their work could translate into a product or service, what advice would you give them? Simon?
I mean, I think like the thing is here, researchers in dementia are the experts, right? Like if you think you've come up with a kind of particularly compelling product or solution idea based on your research, we want to hear about it. It might be that one program fits you better than another program. It might be that you're not quite at the stage where one of our programs could fit, but we can advise you on how to get there. But there is such a kind of, despite the brilliant examples on this panel, such a kind of dearth of new innovative products in dementia, and we've told you the size of the challenge. We need everyone to be working on this. And we want all of the very best research that could potentially be implementable to be in a position where people can directly benefit from it. Our route is helping you commercialize that research. There are other routes, but we would encourage you to come to us and effectively to see what we can do together.
And the Launchpad is a great place to start. I realize, so I'm really sorry that I didn't give you a chance to answer that previous question. Did I, Stefan? I'm sorry, tell me. What lesson learned? Go on, I'm going to come back to you. Lesson learned from early stages.
Yeah, so I don't think I will echo Julia, I think, to a large extent, but also I would say that building partnerships based on values seem to have helped us endure difficult time. When you're working on something that is uncertain, and you don't know whether, let's say, your next application grant would succeed, or whether you'll be able to sustain your work from other sources of income. In our case, it was service provision. So kind of betting on this uncertainty and let's say, being committed to face the evidence that's going to come out of your research. I think if it's not something that you'd like to see necessarily, but it's the opportunity for growth and for learning. If you have relationships with other partners, being technical partners, or they're called technical, or researchers, or business side of the development, if you are aligned along the values, you will endure difficulties, and everything will be turned into a lesson that really makes you stronger going forward.
And the Launchpad is that perfect initiative to kind of bring in that support, help you get the help you need, bring in other people, and surround yourself with people who can help you with those skills that you're going to gain through that program. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. Do check out the websites of our guests. So we've got milbotics.com and eargym.world and animorph.coop. I'm sure it's not meant to say Coop. But that, honestly, this has been really helpful. Also, do visit the Dementia Researcher website at dementiaresearcher.nhr.ac.uk, because Ella's been writing blogs for us all week, talking about innovation, talking about how you might become more innovatively minded, about how your products can potentially have that transformative effect. And if you've, I talk to a lot of researchers who are a little bit frustrated that their qualitative research is kind of coming up with great new ideas and then it only ever finds itself into a publication, and you have to keep applying for research grants to keep that going. This is an entirely new alternative way. That isn't to say you can stop your research. You should definitely keep doing that, but this could be another avenue to make sure that whatever it is your research has discovered actually finds its way into the real world, which is the most important thing. So do check out those blogs. And I think we've also published a blog today from Sam Moxon, who's talked about his journey as well. He's more of a lab-based researcher, talking about something that they did with stem cells, and how that's been supported by Innovate UK. Sorry, Ella, were you going to add something?
I just wanted to really, really quickly say thank you to the three panelists, personally from me, from coming in and taking your time. Julia has been incredibly humble about a long career with lots of experience, and we haven't had a chance to touch on any of that. So I really appreciate you all taking the time, and I wish we had more space to be able to talk through all of these challenges and opportunities. It's been really exciting.
Well, we can always do that. I mean, so the Dementia Research Community app has this kind of community space. If anybody really does want to kind of have more of a roundtable discussion where you're involved and you're leading the conversation, please do let us know and we can make that happen. We can do that at any time. But thank you very much to all of our brilliant guests. We've got Simon, Ella, and Zeke, of course, Julia and Stepan. You've been really great. So do check out that alzheimer.org.uk/innovate and go to the Dementia Researcher website where you'll see more on our innovation products. Thank you so much, everybody, for taking time out to join us.
Thank you for all your work.
And we'll see you again next time. But do remember, what's the deadline for applications again for the Launchpad?
We're awarding places on a rolling basis, so early applications are advised, but it won't close until January.
Brilliant. So get applying. Thank you very much. I'm Adam Smith, and this was from Dementia Researcher with Alzheimer's Society.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.